Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 17 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing a brand new Christmas-themed Cricut project with you every day for 20 days. Today's project is more of one to cut versus one to make, as the making doesn't take too long, but the cutting does take a little while. And it is these absolutely beautiful snowflake candle wraps. I've cut mine from glitter. It's so sparkly and I love the contrast of the silver and the blue. These go on LED candles and 3 matching templates are included. You've got this one for larger candles, this one for smaller candles, here it is. It's a bit hard to see with the exposure on my camera. There we go, you can see it a bit better if I hold it in front of myself. And finally, a super duper teeny tiny one for tea lights. Here it is, very, very pretty. They look lovely, all put together in a display, as you can see from the pictures on the screen now. I've used the same designs, but inverted the colours on some of them, so some I've done blue on silver and some silver on blue. They go together beautifully for that extra special table decoration, or you could display them all on their own along a mantelpiece, a shelf, a windowsill, or wherever it is you decide to display them. I hope you enjoy making these lovely candle wraps with me. Let's get started. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas25 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. Or purchase just the design from this video at craftwithsarah.com/products. To find the designs from this countdown, click into the Occasions filter and choose Christmas. The designs will appear here each day once the free versions have expired. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into your cutting machine software. For instructions on how to use the cut files, visit craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut, Silhouette or Scan and Cut. Within there are dedicated help guides on topics such as how to upload SVGs, how to modify them to make custom projects, framing tips, and how to cut cardstock with your type of machine. If you have any questions, email hello@craftwithsarah.com. Now, on with today's project. First up, you'll need to measure your candles so that you know how big to make the designs to cut them out at. Now, remember, for this project, we are using battery-operated candles because real flames and cardstock do not mix. These ones, I got them all online. They've got nice glows in. I got a few different types so that we could test out all the different sizes. There's a big one, a medium one, and this one I bought because it's a little bit trickier because it's got kind of wax strips down the side, so it's not a smooth edge. So I wanted to see how it all worked with that. And finally, a little standard battery-powered tea light. The smallest design, when it loads in, is already sized to fit a standard size tea light, but we'll look at the measurements anyway. Grab yourself a tape measure, one that you'll be able to move all the way around the candles. And then find the thickest part of your candle, the widest part, and measure it in inches. Really bad at tape measures. Okay, so mine is just about 9 inches wide. So what we need to do is make a note of that, 9 inches, and then when we size the largest candle design in Design Space, we're going to add 1 inch to that number. That's the overlap to allow us to stick the sides together. So in Design Space, it'll be 10 inches, even though my candle is 9. The same thing for the medium one. And I need to make sure that I take into account that I'm going around all those wax strips. So that's as thick as it will get along those. This time it is 6.5 inches wide. And again, we will add an inch to that in Design Space for the medium candle template. So that would make 7.5. And then the little tea light, you probably won't need to resize the smallest design because it should load in just fine. But just to go, this is 4.75 inches. And for this one, we're only adding 1/2 inch because it's so small. So that would be 5.25 in Design Space. So now you know your sizes, upload the SVG file into Design Space and we'll look at resizing it. Here's the SVG file loaded into Cricut Design Space. First, click on it and then ungroup the layers with the button at the top of the Layers panel or underneath in the floating bar to separate them out. If you aren't going to make all of the candle wraps, you can click on the one you're not going to use and delete it. However, I am going to use all of mine and I need to size them to those measurements I just took. For the big one, my measurement was 9 inches. That was how wide my candle was. I need to add an inch to allow for this overlap over here. So that will be 10 inches. To resize, make sure the padlock icon between the width and the height box is closed. If yours is open, click it to close it. Then you can type the width and the height will change in proportion. If you're worried about this being too tall or too short for your candle, you can also measure the height and change that out of proportion. For example, I could click the padlock and make this maybe a little bit taller at 5 inches. However, just be aware that if you do resize it out of proportion, it will distort the pictures. So you see that snowflake now looks a little bit too stretched out. So if you can, try and keep it in proportion. My middle one was 6.5 inches. I need to add that inch. Mine's already at 7.5, so that's great. I don't need to change that one. And then the small one, this should already be resized for standard size tea lights, which was 4.75, add 1/2 inch this time, which makes 5.25, which it already is. If you want to change the color, you can open the boxes here, and then you've got blue and silver for each layer. Click the one you want to change, and you can change it in there. I want to do 2 of each. Actually, I'll probably do 3 of the tea light one. For these ones, I'm going to invert the colours. I'll do a silver on top and blue underneath. I think that'll look nice in the display, having the difference between the two. So I'm going to go for that, and then 1 more of them, but keep all of them as blue. When you're deciding on what paper to use, the thinner the cardstock you use, the easier these will be to stick together, the neater they'll look when folded around your candle into the kind of spherical shape, and it would just be overall much easier for them to glue. However, if you want to make them sparkly card, glitter card is usually quite thick. And you'll see in the example that I'm about to show you, when the card is thick, you can absolutely still make it. That's what I've used and they turned out beautiful, but it is a little bit harder. If you struggle to get stuff stuck down and to hold things in place, then thinner cardstock might be the better option for you. When you're happy with how this is looking in Design Space, press Make to separate out all of the different colours. If you want to change the paper size, you can do that in the drop down here. I am actually going to be using 12 by 12 cardstock, so I don't need to change it. I'm going to need 2 sheets by the look of it, and that's fine. When you're happy with how everything's looking, press Continue to connect to your Cricut and follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut with your Cricut. If you are using glitter card or thicker card like me, a good cut setting to use is the craft board setting. That's craft with a K. That double cuts all the lines, which gets it through the thick cardstock really easily. Now, I did say at the start that this was going to be quick decor, and it is so quick that all we need to do is glue the decorative bit onto the backing. I've used some lovely sparkly glitter card. This is smooth glitter, so it's going to hopefully stick together quite nicely. Chunky glitter might be a bit more difficult if you're using that because that tends to not want to stick to itself very well. I'm hoping that this one will be okay. I'll turn it round, grab some glue. I'm using Barely Art glue, which I like because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do, and it is fairly quick to dry and also quite strong. If you're using plain cardstock, you probably don't need to be quite as dramatic with the glue as I'm going to be. But if you're using glitter or metallic card, or even just card that is quite thick, add a lot of glue because it doesn't like staying stuck to itself, especially glitter card. And we're going to be rolling it round into that candle shape. And that is prime for glitter cardstock trying to come apart from itself. We don't want the two bits to pop away once we thread it round into that shape. So I'm being quite generous with my glue here, going into all the different spaces. It's easiest on the biggest ones, obviously. The smaller the templates, the harder it gets to get all the glue in. But try, even on the little tea light one, to get your glue in as many of the places as you can. The better the stick you get now, the more reliable your candle wrap is going to be. It lines up along the bottom of the bit, the solid bit. Like that. Give it a push down. Be fairly gentle because you don't want to smush the glue out into any of the spaces where you can see it. But at the same time, it does need to be a firm stick. I'm going to give that a moment. You could use paper clips around it to help hold it in place as it dries, or put something heavy on it like a recipe book or a box or something like that. Just bear in mind if you do that straight away, it might smush the glue out, but if you give it a minute or so for the glue to start setting and then put something heavy on it, that'll be okay. This needs to dry absolutely completely before you start rolling it around your candle. Otherwise, the two pieces of card can try and come apart from each other. There's just something about glitter card that it doesn't like being stuck to itself. So what I recommend doing is doing all of your gluing now. I've got that one. Then I've also cut one in the opposite colours, so I have two big candles. And then I've got one of each of the medium ones, so it's the same design but I've alternated the colours. And I've got 3 tea lights, and I couldn't decide if I wanted all my tea lights to be the same or if I wanted one of them to be the opposite colourway. So I've done 4, even though I'll only be using 3. But what I'm going to do is give these probably at least half an hour, if not a bit longer, to let the glue completely dry before I start doing the next bit. Now it's time to decorate the candles. I've already done one of each, but I've got the opposite colour to stick together. It's my big one, my medium one, and the tea light. The easiest one I found is actually the tea light, so I'm going to start with that one. You can either wrap your cardstock around your tea light, pulling it tight as you go to get as smooth a go as you can. It's harder with thick card because it doesn't want to go in a perfect circle. And then glue the patterned edge, which is that one, over that one and hold it in place that way. If you're planning on using the candles again for something else, that's the best way to do it. But if you are committed to always having this pattern on the candles, then it will be much sturdier and stay on better if you add some double-sided tape down the back of the strip. It's just, it will not come off of the candle once you've done this. And then a little bit on top of there. But especially if you use thick card like me, that won't be enough to hold it shut. Add some glue as well. I can't do it with my right hand. Don't cover up the tape completely. Leave a little bit of it visible for that instant stick, and then the glue for the more secure stick. And then place this down where I want the back join to be. Line it up along the bottom of the candle and gently roll it round, lining it up with the candle. Pulling as you go. Get it as tight as you can, especially if you're not using the double-sided tape. Stay right along the bottom of the candle, don't come out any further. And then when you get to the overlap, keep pushing down until it goes over as tight as you can. And then hold it in place for the glue to dry, and it might take a few minutes. If you'd rather, you can add some masking tape or similar to make sure that it stays in place. What I recommend doing is testing some of your tape on a scrap of the same cardstock first to make sure it's not going to mark it or damage it. To make the tape less sticky so it's easier to take off, run it alongside your trousers or your jumper a couple of times to get some fluff on it, and that reduces the tackiness a little bit. It should still be enough to hold this in place, but hopefully not now so tacky that it would damage the cardstock. Put that over there, pull it tight, and stick all around. I've already tested my masking tape on another bit of the card, and it was fine. Okay, and I'm going to leave that to dry and move on to the biggest one next. This is the medium easiest one. That didn't make sense. Medium difficulty one. The one with all those fake wax strips is the hardest, so we're leaving that one till last. It goes together in the same way. Only this time, what I'm going to do, because this has a very distinctive front and back, whereas the tealight's kind of the same, is when I'm sticking it on, I'm going to line up the snowflake in the middle first with where I want that to go, and then push the rest of it down, kind of so that I know it'll be aligned right. You might be able to wiggle it round a bit when it's dry, but not if you are sticking it to the candle as you go, which is what I'm going to do. If you're just doing the wrap without sticking it to the candle exactly, you should be able to wiggle it round. I've added a bit of tape on my overlap, also some glue, just like before. There we go. And then line it up with the snowflake in the middle. Tuck around the side with the bit that we're going to overlap. Pull the other side round and overlap it nice and tight. And once again, hold it until it gets stuck. And that's what it will look like. Very, very pretty. One thing I found, even after my glue is dry, is that sometimes your two pieces of cardstock can come apart, especially if you use glitter. It just doesn't like going round into this shape for some reason. So keep an eye on it, and if you need to, just squirt a bit more glue inside to help it. I'm going to need some more tape on this. I should have got some ready before sticking this on, because now I'm going to try and do it one-handed. There, teeth to the rescue there. I'm glad you couldn't see that bit on camera. And let's take a bit of the tack off. Hold that in place. And then lay it down against something until it dries. That way I can keep an eye on it as well, and if I see it starting to pop off before the glue's dry, I can push it down again. And now, third and final one, the one with the drips, the hardest one to do. So this time, I'm not sure it will work all that well to tape it to the candle itself. For this one, I didn't. I just wrapped it round and it worked out fine. So the only adhesive on this bit is on the strip here. And so you can see for this one, it will move around a bit. I can turn it if I wasn't quite happy with where the snowflake was. It does catch a little bit on those drips though. Seeing as I did it without last time, I'll try it with this time. Get my tape ready first, learn from my mistakes. I can just stay there for a minute on my sleeve. Work out which direction I want the snowflake to go in. I'm going to aim for a bit without a drip on that main part. Line it up. This one's the hardest to pull round because it's not even. I planned this badly because there's a big drip all the way to the bottom, which is where my join's going to be. Yeah, this is not sticking. My tape isn't sticking on this one. Probably because it's not touching in very many places. Okay, I'm going to turn it round a bit because I don't know if you can see. There's a drip from the candle going all the way down where the exact join was, and it's not going to stick. So if you're buying candles specifically to make this, I do not recommend ones with a drip. You'll probably find if it does have drips, it doesn't quite line up right here, just because of it being uneven all the way around. You can see it's gappy, whereas my other ones are tight. It'll still work though. As long as no one looks close, it'll be absolutely fine. Tape that down. And then I'll wait for it all to dry. Once your glue is dry, carefully peel off the tape if you used it, and then you've got your finished candle wraps, looking absolutely beautiful. You can then position them however you want to on however it is that you're displaying them, either straight up on your mantelpiece or on a table, or you could put them together with some other decorations or more candles to make a display. I found this wood slice, it's kind of a fake wood slice, but at a home decor store a few years ago. I bought it to use as a prop in photos when I'm taking pictures of craft projects, but I thought it made a nice base for this display. I've just got 7 of my candles. They say display should be 3, 5 or 7, apparently. It looks nice. I can't show it to you because they'll obviously all just move. But that's it with 7. Or I'm not sure if I actually might just prefer it with 5. I'm never good at this bit, the final putting it right. Maybe 5 looks a little bit lost on the board. Kind of looks nicer from the side in real life than how you see it. Switch it to silver. How you see it from above. Oh no, I think 7. 7 fills the board. I'm so indecisive. Let me know in the comments, which one do you prefer? 5 or 7? I think it's going to have to be 7 to fill it up, but maybe if I found a smaller wood slice, I could get away with 5. I don't know. Either way, it's really, really beautiful. I love how they've all come out. And this is just a nice, quick, easy project to make to up-level your candles for Christmas. I hope that you enjoyed making these beautiful candle wraps with me. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 18 of the Christmas Craft Countdown. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!